What's your royalty arrangement?
You can have everything.
Yeah.
So far, we've had like 20 clicks, so we're doing well out of the 400 shiurim. So yes, we've made negative money.
No, Arthur, we get a lot, but I think because we don't allow the comments, it could be us, people selling us adult entertainment, or it could be them commenting on the show. I have no idea. Anyway, let's get started.
James, the question is you can only monetize after 1,000 people follow you.
Really, I didn't know. Anyway,
Yeah,
we
there's a
monetize
thing.
in Shemaim. That's all it's about, is to build a relationship with Hashem.
Well, it paid off last night.
Good.
And this morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure we got more than 1,000 angels that are liking us. Don't worry.
Listen. You've got well over 100 daf. You've got lots of guys in the Chabura. You got all of those. You're talking about millions and billions of mitzvahs.
Yeah.
That's helping everybody. Okay. So first of all, I want to just say it's an awesome achievement that you guys have managed to pull off over here. So how long ago you started the beginning of in COVID, right?
Yeah, we started, I think, a few weeks into COVID. We were actually all panicky that we might not make it, and we figured we wanted to leave with a reasonable track record. We were a bit
it's a very sensible approach, and the thing is, it applies now even if there's not COVID.
Okay.
You don't need COVID dafka for that. I just need to straighten my. I see I'm sitting skew because my camera was skew.
So thank God we've done 730. It's basically a daf shavua because it works out to 6 shiurim per daf, approximately. 6.1 shiurim per daf. So
is that only to one decimal place?
At 6.13, I thought you'd laugh at that. Yeah.
Okay. So what's happening with the seal?
So firstly, we don't know what really to do, because we're not all in the same location. Do one of the guys do the Hadran in Israel and I do it with Gavin in South Africa? What do we do in that?
They join on Zoom.
Listen, you take a look during COVID, guys. Did see him on Zoom. What you can do is set the time and everybody gets something yummy and you've got to. It's very important that you acknowledge, at least to yourselves, the importance of what you've done. You can't let it just happen. You can't let it just slide. Okay. Like Lahavdil, you've gone through COVID and you've come out as different people in terms of the fact that you were committed to the learning. There's wars happening in Eretz Israel now. There's a lot of things happening. It can't be that we remain the same people who we were after going through major events. Now let's face it, for all the guys in the group to go through 730 shiurim is a major accomplishment, and it needs to be acknowledged, and you need to recognize that you're a different person. That's it. So whatever you make a time, and everybody can join the meeting, and you can the hadran is a davening. You can all say the hadran.
Okay. You
can all say the hadran. It's a davening. You can't say the kaddish at the end, but you can definitely all say the hadran.
Okay. The kaddish to Rabbanan, is it? Does one just not say that, or is there certain circumstances that you have to finish Bava Metzia and Bava Basra? Are they seen as 3 units?
No. That Kaddish to Rabbanan, that one could say, definitely.
Okay.
But you just need a minyan together in one place in order to say it.
Okay, and this thing that they do with Rav Papa Rav, what
Yeah,
what
that you
is
can say as well. The
okay,
only thing you're not going to say is the Kaddish at the end.
absolutely. Okay. So we can have between us like a Sauda, more of an informal Sauda with meet on Zoom, even though it's not a lachic thing, but
Yeah.
more as
I mean, otherwise, if you want, what you can do is each of you invite 10 of your close friends, and then you do it on Zoom.
okay.
Okay, so Damon, I'm gonna have to invite you. Who you gonna invite?
I don't know.
Okay, let's not get
Can-
into that. Let's not
yeah.
get into
Just as so I think all of us have just fatigued a bit. You actually made the suggestion to go back to learning at like a certain point, because the guys were thinking maybe like Elo. What were you thinking?
Listen. Let's let me put it to you like this. Let's discuss a bit about Bava Kamma.
Yes.
So I'll tell you an idea that I think I said this idea at the sim that we made in the Daf Yomi Koilo. So a lot of the psukim you saw come from Parshas Mishpatim.
Yes.
Mishpatim starts out with ve'ele, with a vav, ve'ele ha-mishpatim, and these are the mishpatim. So Rashi brings a chazal that tells us that the vav is connecting into what came before, and what came before? What came before was Matan Torah. In other words, we have to understand that the laws of damages, the civil laws that are in mishpatim, are not a result of convention. All civilized societies have laws like that, about theft and damage and stuff like that. That's part of the thing that makes them a civilized society. But our civilized laws, our mishpatim, our civil law, is got nothing to do with convention. It's got to do with the fact that it was given to us by Hashem. The same Hashem who on Har Sinai says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am Hashem your God. The same Hashem who said that I am Hashem. That's the same Hashem who told us about the shore and the boar and everything else. So what we have to know, and this very important point is mentioned in the halachas of saying the bracha on learning, on Birkas HaTorah. So there's a Gemara, a very frightening Gemara in the Dorim, says that the reason that the destruction happened is shelo baruchu b'Torah tchila. They never made a bracha on the Torah. This is what's going on. How can it be that the destruction, the galus that we're in, is because they never made a bracha on the Torah? How can that be? So over there, the Bach, which is one of the commentaries in the Tur, explains that the problem was their approach to learning. The approach to learning was, we need to know what to do. We need to know how to run our civilization. They didn't realize that every time we learn, we're actually connecting to Hashem. That's what we're doing. That's what says Ve'ele Mishpatim. So what happens is Hashem has given us, obviously we have our bodies and we have our egos and our sense of identity and we have our neshama. But what the place where we really live is in our seichel. Think about it. Okay, let me just ask you simply, right? Are we meeting together now?
Not physically, no.
No, we're not physically, right? Not in any which way. What happens is we have bits of light on a screen that represent one another. And with our mind, we're now giving meaning, and I'm saying that bit of light is Damon, and that bit of light is Gavin, and all of the rest of it. But the meeting is really happening in my head.
Yeah.
That's where it's really happening. That's what life is. We live in our understanding. We live in our seichel, because that's who we are. When we go and we involve ourselves trying to understand the bit of Gemara, what we do is we're taking our seichel and we're trying to connect our seichel to Hashem, to Hashem's way of looking at the world. That, in the Goyish world, you have this idea of church and state, and separation of church and state, as if they're two independent things. We have no such concept. We have mitzvahs that are got to do with the most esoteric spiritual ideas, and mitzvahs that are very, very, you have to know if you've got some manure on the road, is it a bore? Is it not a bore? Can you take it? Can you not take it?
Yeah.
There's no separation. There's not like this is spiritual and that's not spiritual. Everything is connected. Why? Because Hashem made everything, and with everything we want to understand what is Hashem's perspective, quote unquote, on things. That's what we're doing. Right? Now that is like oxygen to our neshama. That when we say, you say it in the davening, ki heim chayenu. That is our life. Right? When we learn, whether it be 5 minutes or 5 hours or 15 hours a day, that's not the issue. But when we learn and we apply ourselves to try and understand what Hashem's perspective is on any particular topic, that's when we're actually alive. And that's the life that's going to carry on. So you said you started in COVID because you weren't sure when everybody's going to check out.
Yeah.
But that that applies all the time.
Yeah.
You want when you learn, and I think each of you will recognize this, that you're a different person to what you were before you started this learning. Right? You look at the world a bit differently. Right? To say that you're going to take a break from learning is like saying that you're going to stop breathing for a while. It's not advisable. You don't take a break. Now, whether you're going to carry on learning in this framework or in another framework is a separate story. But each and every one of you, your learning is not dependent upon the other guys in the group. Right? The group is a wonderful way of facilitating the learning together, and it's a tremendous, tremendous thing. And it definitely makes it a lot easier. But don't make the mistake of thinking that if the other guys are not learning, I don't need to learn. Right? To put it very bluntly, if after 120 you get to Shemayim and they say, hey, it's not going to help saying, do you mind? I just want to call my buddies. We made the decision together. It's not going to help.
Yeah.
It's not going to help. You have to each carry on learning. He said, once you've got the framework to learn together, it makes it a lot easier. It's like a guy learning by himself or learning with a Daf Yomi. Right? It makes it a lot easier to do it together. And because you together, and because you're friends with one another, you can motivate one another. Now, everybody has ups and downs. So when one guy's having a down, the other guy say, no, we're waiting for you. Where are you? And then he'll come to the party. Right? When you're by yourself, it's a lot more difficult. But that's why I said we have to know that, again, whatever it is that you're going to learn together, or will learn by yourself or together, you have to understand this is an opportunity to connect to Hashem. Don't make the mistake and think, listen, because I didn't go to the Chayid and in Yeshiva Ktan and I didn't spend time in Yeshiva, then that's it. It's not part of my reality. That's not it at all. As you've seen. You've seen you can make it part of your reality, whatever it is. There's so many resources. And that's what I want. You've already each invested so much in your learning, and you've moved forward, right? You don't want to lose that in any which way. You got to build on it. Is it don't? The Western world is go make lots of money and then retire and play golf, as if the playing golf is the winning. Because in right, so in this hadran, that you're going to say, Anu amelim v'hein amelim. We toil and they toil. Anu amelim u'makablim sachar. we toil and we get reward, we get payment. They toil and they don't get reward. So what are you talking about? Right? You see lots of people get paid. So they explain it as follows. There's a big difference. And if you're going to go, let's say you're going to go to somebody, a consultant, an engineer, or even more simply, you're going to go to a shoemaker, you're going to go to a tailor. Let's make it easy. You're going to go to a tailor, and you want the tailor to make a suit for you. And you arrange what it is it's going to be. And you go, and in the end of the day, the tailor says, sorry, there was a fire in my shop. There's no suit for you. You're going to say, okay, there's no suit, but I'm not paying you. And he's going to say, listen, but I spent hours. I measured you. I cut the material. I sewed it. You're going to say, yeah, but there's no suit. I'm paying for a suit. I'm not paying for you trying to make me a suit. Right? When it comes to learning, it's not like that. Right? Heim amelim, they toil, ve'ena mekablim schar. They do not get reward for the toil. They don't get reward for the toil. Anu amelim umekablim schar. We toil and we get payment for the toil. In other words, every bit of effort that you put, whether it's in preparing the shiur or listening to the shiur or doing chazorah with the shiur, every bit of effort is going to be rewarded. And we have no way of understanding the exchange rate between effort and reward. You don't know. It might be that, your half an hour or hour of toil is going to get much more reward than some other guy's 10 hours of toil. You don't know what it is. You can't tell that. Right? The guy who grew up and he learned Chumash when he was little, and Mishnayos and Gemara and everything like that, and it's he's like a fish to water. So okay, but when he comes to learn, it's a lot easier for him. You don't know what his level of toil is. Right? You've got your own level of toil, and that's what you got to get rewarded for. So that's the key point. The key point is to understand that we get rewarded for our effort and for our toil and for just pushing away. So as I say, 730, was it 730, eh?
Yeah.
That's a huge amount of toil. And that's an ongoing commitment. Right? You've built so much, you want to carry on building on that. Right? You want to get, fine, you hit 1,000, and you hit 1,500, and you hit 2,000. Right? That's serious investment. Now let me put it very, very easy for you. Let's say you get okay, let's take a Jewish boy, what's his name? Marky Zuckerberg, right?
Yeah.
He comes to you and he says, listen, I understand you've got those 730 shiurim that you did together. All right, I found out that's some serious real estate in Olam Haba. Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. Right? He says, I want a little corner of your real estate in Olam Haba. Right? What are you going to tell him? Sorry, no can do. And he says, he says he'll pay you 50 billion US for it. And you say, sorry, just doesn't even scratch the surface. That's the reality. There's no way he can pay you currency for your toil. He can't get it. If he wants any of that real estate, he has to go and put in the effort himself. So that's saying you need to have a greater appreciation of what you've actually accomplished and what you've earned. Right? Of course, it's going to be a challenge. That's what life is about. Life is about the challenge. And because it's a challenge, that's why you get the reward. Shamayim is not interested in handouts. I saw just the other day, so now with the changes in AR, so the world, what's it, World Monetary Fund or whatever, reckons that 40% of jobs are going to become obsolete. 40% of employed people are no longer going to be employed. So that's going to lead to a bit of a problem in the world in terms of the haves and the have-nots. So what are they proposing? Some of the guys, they're proposing guaranteed income for doing nothing. Right? For doing nothing. Just that people should have income. Well, it's actually quite simple, because if you don't have enough people with income, you don't have any economies.
Okay.
There's no customers. There's
Okay.
no customers. But our perspective is, to get a handout for doing nothing, that's called Nahama de Kisufa, the bread of embarrassment. It's not what we want. We have to understand, that's what we say, Ashreinu, how fortunate we are, Matov Chalkeinu, how goodly is our portion. When we learn, that's where we're really connecting. So that's my not so subtle input to say, make sure you carry on learning.
I wanted to ask you something, Rabbi Cohen, if I may. Firstly, I would like to thank all my dear friends, because without them, it certainly we pulled each other along right to the finish line. And I think one of the issues that came up afterwards, which is why I'm sure they fatigued and I got fatigued, is we never actually envisaged this to become a permanent thing. Our mindset was we would be done with Bava Kamma within, I think, 8 or 9 months, something ridiculous. And when I look back, I thought to myself, I don't know how we've done all of this, because there were more than 730 are recorded. There were many times that we put a shiur on pause and just never recorded it, but the learning is there. I've worked out 749, but there's been others, etc. But the point of it is, how does one get to that stage where you've got the how to change the mindset into a lifetime work instead of an achievement that's been ticked off? Because for some reason fatigue has set in, and I don't know why.
No, the only reason you're fatigued, that's what I'm saying. The only reason you're fatigued is because you have no clue what you got. In other words, let's say you've got, let's say we go for a walk along the Namibian beach coast.
Okay.
Right, and you're going for a walk, and you start picking up these pebbles. And the reason that you're picking up the pebbles is that you know that these pebbles are rough diamonds. They don't look like diamonds. They're not sparkly. They look like stones.
Yeah.
Right. If you're picking them up and you know they're diamonds, you're not going to have a problem picking them up and carrying them.
I agree.
On the contrary, you're going to look for more. The guy next to you that doesn't understand that, he's going to be looking for those little glass floaters that came from Japanese fishing nets. Right? He's not going to pick up the stones with you. He's not going to pick up the pebbles, because he just doesn't understand it. On the contrary, you're going to be picking up the pebbles, and he's going to start making fun of you, like, why are you picking up stones? We've got nothing better to do with your time. Why are you schlepping it? You're not going to have a problem. Right? You're going to say, I'm picking these things up and I'm looking for more, and the bigger the better. Right? You only get fatigued with something if you think that your input, your energy input, is more than your return. Right? You don't, like, if a guy's at the slot machine and he keeps on pulling and it keeps on coming out, he's not going to get tired. He's just going to carry on pulling, because this is what's the return that he's getting is way more than any effort that he's putting in. The reason I'm saying yourselves or anybody else is going to be fatigued, finding a fatigue in learning, is because we just don't understand what we're doing.
Is there
We don't
anything
understand the
that
relevance.
you could suggest? Because if we basically as a group decided we'd get back in the beginning of Elul, because we've all got a couple of hectic things to deal with in our life. But we weren't going to get back together at all. But we decided as a group in the beginning of Elul, is there anything that we could learn on our own that would give us some sort of comprehension of how to have this paradigm shift, because we all grew up very secular, so it does pollute our mindset.
So in English, I would suggest there's Rav Shimshon Pinkus Zatzal has got a sefer about Torah.
Okay.
That might be one. There's the Chofetz. I would presume it's translated in English. In the Chofetz Chaim Shmiras HaLoshen. Chofetz Chaim Shmiras HaLoshen, he's got a section about the importance of Torah.
Okay.
There is the Nefesh HaChaim, the Nefesh HaChaim of Reb Chaim Volozhiner. That is translated in English. Also, just you learn things about how important Torah is. But the more you learn how important Torah is, the more you're going to appreciate your own Torah.
Okay.
That's what you can do.
Okay. I'd like to, and it's not that we don't see value in it. I didn't. I just think I need to shift. There's got to be a paradigm shift. I know that sounds a little odd, because I thought the amount of learning we would put in, that I would be on this madriga of seeing like my paradigms to also improve dramatically. They are improving. They definitely are. My mindset's changed in terms of what the learning has given. I mean, as a group, we've said to each other, no matter how bad our day is, so one good thing that we end up doing in the day when everything else is not always worked out. So that's a very special achievement, to know that the day has not gone to waste. Not that we aim to waste a day, but I mean, sometimes one feels that the day could have been used better, and it's the one good feeling that we have of using the time well. But I definitely want to get to a stage that you see it in a completely different reality, and I need to up my game in that way. Maybe the guys have a higher level.
But I'm saying, but you also need to understand is that was what Rabbi Akiva saw with the water dripping on the rock.
Okay.
So what happens? Rabbi Akiva goes, and he's very despondent about his progress in learning, and he sees this water dripping on the rock, and he sees that it made a hole in the rock. So what was his big amazement? What chizuk did he get from that?
Eventually, over time, it can wear out even the hardest thing with continual reshaping of even something soft.
So let me give you some extra input in that.
Please.
First of all, is that each drop, you don't see any change. Each drop, you don't see any change.
Each drop. Okay. That's an interesting insight. So each drop, it's like you go to gym once, you don't see a change on the physiology. It's just
so you don't see any change in each drop.
Okay.
But the drops must have made a change. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two is, what's the difference between a rock that's got a hole that was made in it by dripping water and a rock that you took a drill and you drilled a hole in?
Well, it doesn't fracture the rock. It's smooth. It is the rock.
It is the rock. If you take a drill, you have something external that you've imposed upon the rock. You've imposed a hole upon the rock. Here, the hole becomes an integral part of the rock. You change. That's what it is. So if you want quick change, you take a drill and you drill a hole, but it's you and the rock and the hole are two separate things.
Yeah.
When you learn, and you do every day, right, you become different. Right? I've got, let me just, I don't have it handy. Right? So when I would get the sefer, I would write in it. I would write in at the date. Right. So yeah, I've got my siddur when I went to yeshiva. It was Tafshin Nun Beis, 92.
Okay, I worked it out, yeah.
Right. This is the siddur. I'm still davening from the siddur.
Wow.
Okay. So I started learning in 92. Okay, it takes time.
Yeah.
Takes time. That's to say, be kind to yourself. Rejoice in what you've accomplished. Don't feel despondent.
Yeah, yeah. I think I also have to pick up new methodologies in terms of how to teach, and I want to use this period of time to improve my my performance if I can. And just grow a bit from
Every day. But what I'm saying is you can have quantum changes, but every day, even the gradual, every day, just I said you must understand how important just the consistency is. Just the consistency is such an important thing.
Okay.
Like I have a chavrusa set up with my brother Ilan. Right? Often
Yes.
it doesn't work out. But what happens is we make the call, and even if it's just for 5 minutes, just that we did it.
Amazing.
So that's you got to keep the consistency. You got to keep the consistency, whatever it is. If you want. What I would suggest is that keep the group. If you want to come back in Elul to learn Gemara, but in the meantime, then learn something else. That's not Gemara. Let everybody do something else. Just prepare something, some bit of chizuk, even if it's 5 minutes.
So Kevin is done. Kevin, I want to take this opportunity firstly to thank you for that, because Kevin starts off the shiur, and you gave us this idea when your Gemara shiurim where it varied between halacha and hashkafa. So, and that actually sometimes had a impact on the day, Kevin, in a way that sometimes Gemara is a very slow molding, which is essential, whereas you shared an idea and you completely reframed the day for us because of what we were learning with you. Or we learned halacha where keeping Shabbos, we thought we were keeping Shabbos. We weren't keeping Shabbos like we do keep Shabbos now. So, Kevin, I just wanted to thank you for that, because in the beginning it was difficult because I thought it would distract from the Gemara shiur, but in fact, it enhanced and it gave a daily injection to where the greater molding of our souls with the Gemara takes time. Whereas that way of viewing how we view people when we say Lashon Hara, or how we negligent in terms of keeping the halacha, are things that are change every day in when you teach us. And also Arthur has come out with insights because he was learning your Rabbi Cohen, your shiurim, for hours while he was doing palliative care for patients. And while Kevin, myself, and Gavin are dealing with cerebral work, Arthur missed that. And what started off as cerebral work and listening to your shiur became a very, very deep understanding in the Gemara, where I had to sharpen my skills, believe me, where it became that he knew exactly what was going on, which was good. And then Gavin would be, I'd love that. He'd be obtuse and he'd say, no, it doesn't make sense. And I'd have to know a concept very well so that it wasn't fighting from ego. And I'd have to just sit there and listen and say, you know what, you're right. I need to relearn it. I need to come back to you. I need to think about it. And I haven't looked at it deeply enough. So all of you have brought out the best in me, and we've been learning together as a team. I think it's not the group's fault. I think why I wanted to stop is this existential crisis. When I hit 50, I thought I would be in a different place in my life, and it just kind of threw me into a depression. That's when I saw you, and I said to you, I'm done. When we finished, I'm not the right guy for this. I'm definitely not the right guy for this. They need some oak in my shiurim or something, but I feel like an imposter because I do know the daf well. I learn it properly. And Gavin, I don't know what you think, but there's a hell of an improvement from the start. But I still felt that
Listen, Damien, let's get real. You can't be an imposter, because do you really think you're going to fool these oaks?
No, they won't let me get away with a thing, not a thing. That's what friends are for.
They say, so don't worry about feeling imposter.
Yeah,
You're not there.
They don't,
Danny,
especially
you
when
gotta
they're
stop.
fatigued and tired. Their tact level is minimal.
I know, that's exactly what you need.
Yeah,
Listen,
Can I quickly say something?
sure.
Okay, so I'll tell you what the advantage of all of us studying together is that we all brought up and we all think differently. And because we all think differently, I mean, I think way differently, and I bring up the concept that somebody's never thought of, because that's how my brain works. And each person has a different way of looking at it. Believe me, I've been married. I still don't understand my wife all these years, but she looks at the world differently. I look at the world differently. Okay, but that actually makes us stronger, because we don't just go on, one person's view. We actually realize that there are many ways to look at something, and they're all correct.
Yeah.
Just how your brain does it. And the one thing I learned is the only thing that you can never see is yourself. You can see everybody else, but you can never see yourself with your own eyes, because your eyes look out to the world, not into you.
Right.
Brings the world into you, but if you look in a mirror and you suddenly swing it around, you kind of get a shock, because you're not used to seeing the actual face the right way.
Gav, you wanted to say something because we've got less.
Yeah, I just want to say something just very brief. I'll be like 30 seconds. All I want to say is that Damon really is absolutely outstanding. I'm not part of this show because I'm a friend of Damon. Part of the show because he's damn good. That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
Thank you,
friendship
my
would have
friends.
lasted a few shiurim.
Thank you, my friends. And Rabbi Cohen,
He's
thank you
right,
for being
he's
an
right up
expert.
there with the best of the best, especially for the amount of experience. For somebody with so little experience to pull off a show at such a high level like this, I think is absolutely beyond amazing, really.
Well, okay, so the only thing is just to figure out what you're going to carry on learning now until Elul.
Yeah, we'll work on it as a group. Rabbi Cohen,
Okay.
thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thanks
Thank
very
you
much.